protocols during first, I would like to welcome our participants from various governments and institutions in the health promotion of this industry across Africa, and the board that have combined for this 15th edition of the Abuja International Conference. Special thanks to the Honorable Minister of Housing from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Kenya, as well as our stakeholders from the international and youth environment and multilateral institutional stakeholders for their unrelenting partnership and engagement over the years, and even in the strenuous circumstances brought on by the global pandemic. The global pandemic impacted the global housing market, and Nigeria as well, as we saw, the resurgence and importance of housing, not only as an investment, but also as a necessary and critical social infrastructure for fighting and effectively combating the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria and across the world. This year's theme is sustainable and resilient housing solution for a post-pandemic world. We hope to fully explore the different innovations and requirements that can effectively position housing as a tool in combating the epidemic on the safety premise that the world has finally come to the realization of the importance of housing and the environment, and therefore, Nigeria and Africa cannot be left behind, so as to adequately prevent the kind of experiences witnessed in India, South Africa, and other parts of the world where COVID-19 is concerned. As we commence the 15th edition of the Abuja International Housing Show, the importance of housing cannot be overstated. If we must accomplish social distancing and promote personal hygiene according to World Health Organization protocol, the AIS 15th edition has put in place safety protocols to facilitate a issue conference with zero tolerance for risky behavior, and we believe participants will be fully guarded. As part of the issues that will be addressed this year is the involvement of the youth. They design the future of affordable housing. And I'm glad to say that we have a lot in store in terms of the youth housing design competition. This is a first of its kind in Nigeria, and let me say Africa. Also part of the issues to be addressed at this year's conference will be the matter of housing data for effective planning and delivery. I remember our Minister for Works and Housing has been talking about this issue of data. And Housing Development Advocacy Network has found time to respond to the Honorable Minister, and we have chosen that this year, 2021, we put this issue of data in the front corner of our discussion. The Minister has discovered the lie figures, yes, 18 million housing debt. For all of us that are here in this year Abuja International Housing Show, we must do everything in collaboration with the Minister and all stakeholders, local and international, to unveil the truth of what really is the figure of housing deficits in Nigeria. To this end, the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, NBS, National Population Commission, Central Bank of Nigeria, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Nigerian Mortgage Investment Company, Federal Ministry of Finance, and other critical stakeholders will deliberate on Nigeria housing deficit figure and the way forward in terms of the segmentation of the housing needs and what is expected and required, both from an urban and rural perspective, using both local and international best practice. For us in the housing and goods sector, and particularly the Housing Development Advocacy network that I represent. We remain unrelenting in advocating for the development and rollout of affordable housing by government and the private sector, and we like to commend the response of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Ministry of Finance, and other stakeholders toward the establishment of the 200 billion National Social Housing Program, being managed by the Family Homes Fund to deliver 300 housing units for low-income earners across the Federation. We are glad that the government finally heard our clamor, but like the popular Charles Dickens character, will virtuous. We still believe that more is needed and required if we have to effectively tackle the growing demand. It is against this background that we commence this 15th edition of the Abuja International Housing Show. It is my honor and privilege to commend the Board of Trustees and organizers of this year's events with the team for fostering progressive conversation that will spur us all, public and private sector players, into taking the required action to move the sector forward. The challenges that we face as a country in the housing sector are enormous. Our housing deficit, though currently being contested, is estimated to be over 17 million. Housing units is still the highest in the continent, and current effort to resolve this remains inadequate. As dancing as Nigerian housing challenges it is not insurmountable, but rather a great promise and opportunities. This really has handed us the stakeholders that are here today, policymakers that are here today, and government personnel that are here today, the opportunity to make a difference in our efforts to use the VHS platform to continue to make impact. We are also encouraged by the enthusiasm and commitment shown by state governments nationwide, addressing the challenges with housing, particularly in the northeastern part of Nigeria, where housing is in high demand on account of the housing ongoing social issues, and we like to see this opportunity provided by the ICF to recognize the efforts of state government toward driving increased housing development for the economically displaced and socially disadvantaged. It is a sign of the increasing consciousness by political leaders of the need to take more aggressive action toward enabling housing development. As an industry, we also see a lot of possible trends. This includes the emergence of strong innovations like alternative housing finance, interest loan, among others, initiatives that are currently being deployed to stimulate affordable housing development and mortgage lending. They are also historic intervention with great potential for boosting housing debt. In conclusion, I will once again like to say that after 15 years of the Abuja International Housing Show, we are beginning to see the initiatives and collaborative programs that we hope promise in leading the housing sector to be part of improved housing development. I thank you all, the ministers, the permanent secretaries, great and notable Nigerians that are here today. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think you deserve another round of applause. Thank you very much for doing well in everything that you touch. You went into law and excelled. You went into the media and did excellently well. In housing, and it's impossible to beat him. Please give him another round of applause. I want to welcome a professor of English and Literature from South Africa, John Beeman. Please put your hands together for him. You're welcome. He was the one who coordinated for us an English workshop where we were trying to pick an English language, particularly for Africa. We were trying to see whether we should use the British English or the American English. It was difficult to choose after 3 weeks. Because, for instance, in Britain they will say extreme, in America they will say end, but here they will say extreme end. In Britain they will say short, in America they will say nipper, and here they will say
shopmaker. In Britain they will say salon. In America they will say barber shop. But here they will say barber salon. In Britain they will say sew. In America they will say therefore. But here they will say sew therefore. In Britain they will say steel. In America they will say yet. But here they will say. In Britain they will say shoe. In America they will say in case. But here they will say. In Britain they will say handset. In America they will say from now on. But here they will say from now henceforth. In Britain they will say reverse. In America they will say turn back. But here they will say reverse. In Britain they will say tell me the reason. In America they will say tell me why. But here they will say tell me the reason why. Let's also welcome all the way from the Republic of Liberia and the National Housing Authority. I want to especially welcome the Deputy Managing Director for Technical Services, Mr. Henry S. Clark. Please put your hands together for him. We also want to especially welcome the representative of the Prime Marshal of the Federal Safety Corps, Dr. Bahari William, represented today by Dr. Ebenezer Abuja, who is the Corps Commander for Housing. Please put your hands together for me. We also especially welcome Tipan Nathaniel at TBJ, who is the first National Vice President, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. And permit me also to especially welcome Town Planner Olutu Ayinde, National President, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. You're welcome. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I've been told that the next speaker ought to be our chairman for today, but with special permission, Mr. Chairman, we will need your permission to do. In housing, we can change your plan, and we can retitle it. So our position remains to bring this man who, when he was minister, he did not only focus on climate change and biodiversity, he also focused on land degradation, and particularly so we can use proper land for the purpose of housing. Distinguished guests, let's welcome therefore the former Minister of State for Power, Works and Housing, Seville Suleiman Hassan Zaino, MMIS. Please put your hands together for him to bring them up to deliver for us the opening remarks. Mr. Chairman, thank you. If we make a little more for him as a candidate to speak to us about going forward. He's been at the survey, he has worked hard to build different capacities, and today we are here for him. Mr. Minister, this is our chairman for today. Another round of applause for him.
Honorable Minister of Environment, Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, PhD, I prefer rather than call him doctor. The Honorable Minister of State, Works and Housing, Engineer Abubakar Amir, fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers, the Honorable Minister of FCT, ably represented by the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Ade Shola Onishade, the Honorable Minister of State for Housing, Federal Republic of Ghana, representatives of the governors of Borno, Lagos, and Yobe states, representatives and heads of ministries, departments, and agencies, distinguished stakeholders, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure and honor to welcome you to the 15th edition of the Abuja International Housing Show with the theme Sustainable and Resilient Housing Solution for Post-Pandemic World. This year's show is part of the efforts of the International Housing and Construction Show, grand advocacy event targeted at creating awareness for affordable housing as a critical human need. This yearly event gives us the opportunity to take stock of the state of our housing and construction industry, especially those left behind when it comes to housing as a fundamental human right, and determine the way forward. The theme of this year's show could not have come at a better time than now, when the world is saddled with the scourge of the COVID-19 pandemic and the damning consequences, especially on those without access to affordable housing and shelter. COVID-19 has spread to all parts of the world, showing that ours is indeed a small world with little or no boundaries. As of July 2021, there are over 100 million confirmed cases of COVID-19. It's actually about 143 by the 18th of July, with over 5 million deaths reported in over 200 countries and territories. The COVID-19 pandemic led to a lockdown which paralyzed economic activities in both formal and informal sectors. The implication of such policies include the loss of or reduction of household incomes, government revenues, and attendant ability to meet statutory responsibilities, including the provision of affordable housing, and with drastic impact on health and well-being of internally displaced individuals, as well as those without shelter. The informal sector employs about 80% of Nigerians and is mainly made of daily paid workers who are worst hit by the lockdown. It is pertinent to mention that amongst those in the low-income brackets and the informal sector, the COVID-19 lockdown has impacted them more negatively. The likely effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the delivery of affordable housing in the face of reduced revenues is better imagined. Already, Nigeria is experiencing an increased rate of unemployment and youth restlessness, with banditry and kidnapping being the order of the day. The lockdown due to the pandemic has also made it impossible for schools to resume. In the absence of schooling, more children and youth are likely to drop out of school with only unimaginable consequences for society, e.g., increase in gender-based violence, ranging from kidnapping, terrorism, rape, physical and emotional assault, some of which has resulted in loss of lives. It is heartwarming and noteworthy that in addressing the impacts of COVID-19 and ensuring development and growth of the economy, the present government has initiated numerous programs that can drive employment creation and improve on the availability of housing. Some of these programs include the COVID-19 economic stimulus, where the government announced an approval of a stimulus package of about 3 trillion naira to cushion the effect of the coronavirus pandemic on the economy. The package is expected to address the needs of both formal and informal sectors, including the National Social Housing Program. It has also developed an infrastructure company in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, and private sector stakeholders. It is no longer news that the various state governments have continued to support the supply of affordable housing through budgetary allocations, either as direct investments or counterpart funding from the federal government. The presence of the representatives of the governors of Borno, Yobe, and Lagos State is an acknowledgement of this fact, because it is clear the delivery they have done, we all have seen. For us, in the Abuja International Housing Show, we shall continue to pursue our mandate of advocacy and promoting the availability of affordable housing and social economic data for championing the cause of housing provision, as well as advise government on related issues as a contribution towards ameliorating the adverse effect of the pandemic against those that lack access to affordable housing. We recognize the data collection disaggregated by the housing practitioners is at the center of most real housing projects, particularly as it has to do with low-cost housing. Hence, the Abuja International Housing Show has continued to collaborate with World Bank, Central Bank of Nigeria, Population Commission, the Ministry of Works and Housing, Mortgage Refinancing Company, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Bureau of Statistics, Bureau of Statistics, Moving Bank Association of Nigeria, and other development partners, not governmental organizations, and NGOs to generate data meant to address the issue of housing deficit across this country, Nigeria. I wish to use this opportunity of the 13th edition of this show to thank all sponsors and the Board of Trustees for their technical and financial support over the years. I will also not forget to thank other stakeholders, especially members of the Technical Working Group and the press for their unrelenting support in bringing to the forefront the cause of affordable housing as a fundamental human right. I therefore wish to conclude by calling on all stakeholders to join hands to ensure that housing and construction takes the center stage in our development efforts as a nation. Thank you very much for listening, and have an impactful conference.
I think he deserves a better round of applause. Let me once again remind us that the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, is ably represented here. Can we put our hands together, especially for his representative? Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. We have a few other people that are quickly recognized. One of them, of course, is the President of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Mohammed Abbato, fellow Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. Please put your hands together for him. Also with us here is the Head of Strategy Management, FSS, as the Financial System Strategy of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Ibrahim Hassan. You're welcome. Please let's honor him with an applause. Very quickly, we'll bring another man who has about 4 different appointments this morning on an assignment schedule, but he has decided first to come here and honor us today. He was only recently, particularly in 1989, awarded the University of Arizona 1989 Departmental Scholarship for Academic Excellence in the doctoral research in the areas of that include natural resource management, and particularly I want to focus on land, soil, forest, and water posture. Basically for us, he will be talking to us from experience, from research, and from his work as both student, scholar, and teacher. Let me therefore welcome for his remarks our friend, also our partner in this business, the Honorable Minister for Environment, Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. We are honored to have you. There are very few professionals who come up to become successful politicians. He's done well, and he's done well as minister. Let's appreciate him some more.
The Honorable Minister of State, Works and Housing, my brother, representatives of other honorable ministers, representatives of the SGF, and representatives of excellencies, governors, our guest, the Honorable Minister of State from Ghana, other distinguished personalities present here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen of the press, good morning. Let me start by thanking the organizers of this event for inviting me, number one. And I'm particularly interested in the title of this event, Sustainable and Resilient Housing Solutions. Post-pandemic, yes, we are currently facing the coronavirus pandemic, but there's also another pandemic that is currently raging, which is the climate change pandemic. Yes, rightly, that we deal with the post-pandemic. We usually say to build back better, and that is exactly what this event is talking about, sustainable housing. Of course, climate change has so much to do with housing, land degradation. That's what the Federal Ministry of Environment is working towards. I just returned from Burkina Faso day before yesterday on the same housing and land degradation issue. I'm going to Mauritania tomorrow for the same environmental climate change issues, has to do with land degradation and housing. So as you can see, the environment is every bit part of housing. You cannot separate the two. That's why I'm particularly interested, and I thought, whatever I have today, I should come here today and just give a little goodwill message. We all need all hands on deck, whether it's designing houses for environmental, as environmental friendly housing, construction. We are talking about houses also that can contribute towards energy transition. These are issues that have to do with what we are facing, climate change. And I often say, if you are talking about coronavirus pandemic, yes, it's raging and has turned the world upside down. But if climate change is to go crazy, coronavirus pandemic will be like child play. Because coronavirus is only taking the human capital. Climate change will take everything along with it. As I speak with you today, there are island nations that are losing landmass already because of the rising sea level. Some are beginning to evacuate their little islands. So we have so much to do in terms of climate change, and I keep saying housing is part of it. So let's design, let's construct the houses that will stand the test of time, that can contribute towards climate change action, adaptation, mitigation, and resilience, exactly what you are talking about. So once again, I thank the organizers, and I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
This is the new life we live now. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give His Excellency another resounding round of applause? Just before I bring up the next speaker for goodwill message, permit me to recognize our international partners. Ladies and gentlemen, the Director of International Partnership, Abuja International Housing Show, he's also the Assistant Vice President, Mortgage Operatives Trust Bank, United States of America. This was a mistake from Mr. Festus, and I know that once you're done with this show, you would always go to the US to catch your breath. So we need to apologize to Mr. Kunle Faletti. He's also one of the organizers. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please give him a round of applause, Mr. Kunle Faletti? Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to once again invite Her Excellency all the way from the Republic of Ghana. She's been in the Parliament for the third time. She is from the Tona North constituency, Republic of Ghana. And ladies and gentlemen, she is the Minister of Works and Housing, Honorable Dr. Frida Pente. If we are gender sensitive, ladies and gentlemen, the applause will be louder. Maybe you're not clapping for her because I did not tell you that Ghana is the gateway to Africa. Give her a round of applause. Even though Nigeria is the destination.
Thank you very much. It's time to hear the feminine voice. It looks like the housing industry is becoming a male-dominated area. But we ought to be gender sensitive wherever we find ourselves. I can see a few women around, but I'm expecting to see more. I bring you greetings from Ghana, and I must say I'm very happy to be back home. This is my second time
attending the Abuja housing show. And let me tell you a secret. The last time I was here, I sat down listening to the introductions, and I heard Dr. This, Professor that, Professor Honorable, Dr. Honorable. I was then pursuing my PhD. But that really encouraged me, and I told myself that the next time I come back for the Abuja housing show, I'm coming back as Honorable Dr. Frida Painter. I must say, what I heard the last time really urged me on not to defer my program, but combined so many things to get to where I am today. So by the grace of God, and by what I learned from Abuja, this Honorable Dr. Frida Painter from Ghana. I'd like to say it is an honor for me once again to deliver this address in this beautiful city of Abuja on the occasion of the 15th Housing Show with theme Sustainable and Resilient Housing Solutions for a Post-COVID World. I must once again commend Barrister Festus and his team for sustaining this show and bringing major stakeholders together. You will agree with me that globally, the year 2020 began on a very optimistic note with a forecast GDP growth rate of 2.4% back home in Ghana within the first quarter. Because I gave a very nice secret about myself, I forgot to stand by the existing protocols. So I stand by the existing protocols. Thank you. The COVID-19 global pandemic has had an unprecedented impact on all facets of our macroeconomic trends, including our human settlements, social housing, and affordable housing projects. But we are very optimistic of its great opportunities to building partnerships on slum upgrading, infilling, redevelopment, and delivering decent, safe, affordable housing. The economic crisis sparked by the pandemic and the great lockdown negatively impacted global economic growth beyond anything experienced in nearly a century. Large quarantines, travel restrictions, and social distancing measures resulted in a sharp fall in consumer and business spending, leading to a global recession with the GDP rate estimated to have contracted by an average of 4.5%. African economies were severely impacted, and the construction industry globally was not left out. The impact of COVID-19 has been more profound for the urban poor and vulnerable in society. These high-risk groups mostly live in overcrowded, high-density informal settlements with inadequate social and hygiene infrastructure facilities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, in these devastating times, the current living conditions in these informal settlements and slum areas are likely to potentially increase the risk of infection of the virus within and across these settlements. The pandemic has exacerbated our housing problems and shown us the cracks in the current system and has pointed a glaring spotlight on the overarching importance of the housing subsector to promoting health and sustainable livelihood in the sub-region. COVID-19 reinforces the crucial importance of our national government's mission of building a movement that improves the life chances of several millions of people in our urban communities. A social housing scheme for the disadvantaged is now a categorical imperative and must find some finance space for that. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, affordable housing has not been sidelined, but is the most comprehensive and sustainable humanitarian response we have in the face of the current pandemic. And future public health catastrophes must be a foundation and must be part of our post-corona economic recovery plan. Investing in the widespread construction of decent, affordable housing needs to be a top priority now more than ever for our countries. It is obvious that investing in affordable housing solutions delivers on many fronts for healthcare, pandemic protection, and prosperity. The provision of affordable and decent housing for the middle and low-income segments of the population remains a challenge. In fact, ensuring access to adequate, safe, and affordable housing is an important part of SDG 11, which commits the global community, including Ghana, to creating sustainable cities that are inclusive, safe, and resilient. Your Excellencies, responding to economic contraction with the construction of environment-smart, affordable housing will drive macroeconomic growth, stimulate job creation and financial sector deepening, and enable thousands of Africans to escape the poverty cycle. The collective responsibility for us in the construction industry must be to support those on low incomes for the benefit of our citizens. The construction industry is often argued to be unique in its multiplicity of stakeholders, transient organizational structures, avoidance of risk and impact on society. Most governmental institutions on environment, and I'm happy our Minister of Environment spoke highly about climate change, have recognized construction as a sector in which significant progress and potential for improvement can and indeed must be made in terms of both sustainability and resilience to the changing environment. A significant proportion of construction materials for the housing sector are imported from foreign countries such as China, Turkey, Italy, just to mention a few. And these countries are among the hardest hit in the case of pandemic. Although the industry in China has commenced production, the closed borders and travel restrictions globally means that it will take some considerable period before stockpiling of materials on site will reach normalcy as it stands now. It can be projected that this could take quite some time before it could be achieved. The situation, therefore, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, presents itself as an opportunity for participating states to capitalize on supporting alternative local manufacturing industries to bridge the supply gap. And our governments must integrate measures to boost local production of building materials. We need to be innovative and tap into the alternative local building materials, deepening on the dynamics in our various countries and communities. And I would like to say that Ghana has taken up the challenge. The ministry has taken it upon ourselves to explore into the use of local materials within our communities, depending on the dynamics in the various communities. In my community, for instance, we have a lot of clay deposits. So we are exploring into the use of bricks for the housing industry. We are looking at using laterites. Our forefathers used laterite. A 90-year-old house still stands firm. So right now, the real estate development agencies in Ghana are exploring into the use of using laterites. And some are mixing laterite with some bits of cement and quarry dust and molding them into blocks. We are trying as much as possible to bring down the cost of building within the industry. And I would like to remind participants of this Congress that Africa is culturally, socially, and economically diverse, but our problems and needs are equally diverse. However, we have gathered here for the next few days to discuss how to address our common challenges. I believe the challenges in Abuja or Nigeria is not too different from what we are going through in Ghana. As team leaders in the built environment fraternity, we will have to be we will have to be proactive and partner with our various governments to find lasting solutions to these challenges. Making our cities more resilient to environmental changes and natural disasters, and in the process helping them to improve their social and economic resilience, is a major challenge of our time. A large and complicated aspect of urban resilience is the way to go. Building affordable housing at scale represents an untapped marketplace, and the opportunity that this presents will be of even more value to recovering post-COVID economies. Well-planned cities can facilitate economic growth and sustainable economic development. It is very encouraging to see the enthusiasm and participation of all present as ambassadors, willing to share our experiences and with the adversity of financing products for the benefit of all back home. My ministry is currently sourcing for land banks, a major resource in the housing industry, and providing housing and infrastructure, which includes inner road networks, electricity, water, etc. I believe that we all have challenges in the acquisition of lands in our regions. So the ministry has taken it upon ourselves to acquire land banks, because our investors keep on having challenges. Some lands are sold to multiple access to the land you have paid for. It takes a longer time and some resources have to be spent. So to avoid that, the ministry has taken it upon ourselves to acquire land banks across the country and also go beyond that, have it serviced. We are still talking to the Ministry of Finance to support us so that we'll be able to provide on-site infrastructure, talking about roads, talking about sewage, talking about electricity, and all that, so that we'll be able to bring down the cost of building. These service plots will be provided to investors for public-private partnership projects. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, research has proved that we can build decent sanitary homes at an average cost that will be affordable per house. Affordable homes are an asset that further proves and builds in resilience ahead of unanticipated crises, buffering families living on low incomes against shocks. This is truly an opportunity to build back a better industry, and I believe a stronger August body, such as the one we have now, and our stakeholders, but to mention a few, can come together and definitely take up the task. At whichever capacity here, you have an opportunity to contribute to inclusive urbanization and leave a positive mark on the millions of people in the sub-region. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at the just ended 40th annual general meeting of Shelter Africa in Cameroon, it came to light that about 56 billion of the urban infrastructure and housing deficit is needed by 44 member countries. Barrister Festus talked about the housing deficit. Back home in Ghana, we are battling with a 2 million housing deficit. But I must say we haven't had any comprehensive research to really ascertain the numbers as we talk about. But fortunately for us back home, we are undertaking our population and housing census that I believe that at the end of the day, we'll be able to come out with a concrete figure plus 5 minus 5. But as it stands now, we are battling with a housing deficit of 2 million. I also believe that the outcome of this meeting will definitely translate into practical policies, programs, and projects in our respective countries. I would say safe and sanitary homes with running water, clean energy, and enough space is the future frontline defense against any future pandemic. While it is important to learn the best practices from elsewhere, context should not be lost on us. I therefore urge you to come out with solutions that are fit for purpose and allow us as a country to break the back of the housing finance problem. We must focus attention on banks, identifying the challenges to financing affordable housing in Africa, and possibly policy instruments that can be improved to deliver affordable housing projects. A financial business model ways and means to support a strategic, coherent engagement between ministries of finance and housing. Public partnership is very crucial. A recurring concern, however, is how to finance home ownership most efficiently and effectively. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, housing finance has thus become a topical issue amongst researchers, policymakers, and development partners. There is the urgent need to develop and implement more efficient ways to finance housing. In most countries around, mortgage financing is synonymous to housing finance. Construction finance for developers, mechanisms to reduce the cost of funds to ensure mortgage affordability should also be addressed. In the days ahead, Your Excellencies, we will continue to network and build partnerships and experience sharing on issues to address the housing challenge, urban poverty, especially in Africa. Let us strengthen our partnerships, upscale interventions, and leverage finance to ensure prosperity for all. With a special focus on women, our youth, and our commit to large-scale investment for inclusive economic prosperity and livelihood improvement. To conclude, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, I once again thank you for this opportunity. I implore all of us to take cognizance of the closeness of the third wave of the pandemic. Let us continue to observe strict COVID protocols and find innovative ways of sustaining the momentum in the housing industry post-COVID. I once again want to remind you that we can tap into our local materials industry. We can support the housing industry in our various countries to grow, and we can all come together to build a safe, affordable housing for our member countries. Thank you for this opportunity.
Will you please give her another round of applause? Thank you, Your Excellency. And, before I bring up the next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, whilst she was speaking, I understand the MD of Shelter Afrique just walked in here, Mr. Andrew Chikonda. Can we please give him a round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of New Era African Stone is here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Lydia, can we please give her a round of applause? The president of Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Aliyu Yamako is also here with us. Another round of applause, please. And straight to the next speaker for his good message, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to bring up the representative of the Secretary to the Federal Government, Barrister Boss Mustafa, in the person of Anthony I. Obiora. As you know, that he is the head of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. We want to thank you for even having time to send a representative. Thank you so much, sir. Please come forward. Another round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much, the organizers and your council team. I'm here to represent the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Barrister Boss Mustafa, who would have loved to be here present, but is currently attending some important state functions in the villa. He has sent me to deliver a good news message on his behalf. I have a paper to read, voice you'll be hearing is mine, but the spirit behind the letter of the word I'm going to say is that of my boss, boss Mustafa the SGF. Goodwill, let me say this, I want to stand on the existing protocol, please. Goodwill message presented by the SGF on the 15th Abuja International Conference, Housing Show Conference and International Housing Exhibition, holding here on 26th July. It's a privilege to be here at the 15th Abuja International Housing Show with the theme, Sustainable and Resilient Housing Solution for a Post-Pandemic World. This is the 15th consecutive year that the International Housing and Construction is dealing with issues that are called housing. Of public sector servants, as well as the unity of Nigerian workers for economic and social progress, is largely reached, and the national social housing program
Vote